Hey everyone, it's the Grumpy Meeple, and I am back with another Kickstarter preview video. This one's going to be short and sweet because I don't have a ton of time, and yep, neither does this campaign. It's only got 21 hours left to go. Also, I already filmed a version of this, and my microphone wasn't turned on. So, yeah. Not gonna go back through it in that detail, but it's probably way too long anyways. Anyways, the game, Monsterpocalypse. Crush, stomp, or smash your way to supremacy, be the last monster standing. Kaijus versus Mecha, basically board game. Kind of King of Tokyo-ish with miniatures and like an environment. And really, really awesome looking. I am super excited for this. This is one of the coolest Kickstarters I've seen all year, to be honest. It's based off an existing game of the same name. This is just the board game version, and by board game they mean that they're like packaging everything together and they're kind of assembling the miniatures for you and making it easy to get onto the table instead of it being like a collectible game like Warhammer or something like that. So they've got a couple pledge levels here. You can pledge $1 for the minion pledge. This will not get you the exclusives, though, at least not for free. You'll have to buy them in the Pledge Manager, so bear that in mind. They've got the Veteran Pledge. This is for people who already have some Monsterpocalypse content and just want to upgrade to the new kind of component quality and to get the 3 and 4 player expansion pack. They've got the Smasher Pledge, which is the standard pledge at $119. This thing, the value proposition on this at the beginning of this pledge, when it was just the core box as it was on day one, was already insane. This is an insane amount of content. Now, with the number of unlocks that it has, this is just an absurd value. So couldn't possibly recommend this more if you're even remotely interested in a game like this, which I feel like you can get a pretty good sense of just from this one picture, right? Here's the giant monsters. Here's the giant Jaeger. They're going to fight. Jaeger is a trademark of the Pacific Rim, blah, blah, blah. But it's a fucking Jaeger. Call it whatever you want. Or a Mecha. There you go. They've got the Crusher Pledge, which is the core pledge plus the Battle Royale expansion, which we'll talk about in a minute. Basically adds 3 and 4 player modes, scenario-based co-op and solo modes, and some gianter monsters. And then they've got the Total Apocalypse Pledge, the all-in pledge for $449, which comes with every gameplay-related item that they're releasing here. They do call out at the bottom here that they may add new add-ons during the Pledge Manager, but they will be purely cosmetic, which is really exciting to me because this is exactly the kind of game that I would want to bling out. And so I'm actually glad that they're going to be putting out cosmetic stuff. I don't know what it would be, but because it's a very simplistic game. There are no tokens in this game as far as I can tell, which is awesome because, again, get it to the table. Quick. Dice, board. You build the environment as part of the setup. You're making like tactical decisions about what buildings to put out and stuff, and so setting up the game is part of the gameplay, which is awesome. And then running around with mechs, body slamming and throwing them through buildings and just beating the hell out of each other. So the Total Apocalypse Pledge, this is such an insanely huge amount of stuff. It's hard to recommend at $449 to buy any one board game, but you will definitely get $449 worth of stuff out of that. There's no question about that. It's just a question of, do you need $449 worth of this stuff? So, little synopsis here. Choose your side, smash your way to your enemies, be the last monster standing to win. And here we have what looks like a mecha ninja Shoryuken doing a Shoryuken on a Martian flying saucer. I feel like this picture perfectly encapsulates what this game is. And what that is freaking awesome, right? This is a board game version of the classic skirmish game and aims to give the same feeling as the original by making it more accessible and ready to pick up and play. So you've got basically two sides. You've got protectors and destroyers, and you just pick a side, and then you pick factions from within that side and put together a little army to go to war, basically. Here they've got a picture of the core box. This is the core box as it was on day one, as far as I know. I don't believe this includes unlocks. So, again, this with the amount of terrain it comes with these giant, beautiful miniatures, Mythic Games is known for making quality miniatures, and this game is no exception from what I can tell. This would have been worth it from the beginning, but they've unlocked a ton of stuff. And the basic gameplay is super simple. You put an army together, you start on different sides of the board. The buildings have like special abilities and effects, so you're deciding what buildings you want to put out and where you want to put them. Like maybe there's a power plant and you have a mech, so you want to put that back in your base so that you can protect it because it gives your guy energy or something like that. So you're making tactical decisions, setting up the board, and then you just are rolling dice to either activate units, which are the little guys, or monsters, which are the big guys. And when you activate units, you then take those activation dice and you move them to the monster board so that the next turn, the monster has that many dice to act with. So you have to make some tactical decisions about where you allocate your usage as well, because you could hold some dice back for your monster if you want to be able to activate him in the next round or whatever, or you could blow it all and kind of flip it back and forth. But it's just so streamlined. And one thing that I really love about this campaign is that, first of all, almost nothing is Kickstarter exclusive. There's just one building that's Kickstarter exclusive, and it's the Mythic HQ, which I think is actually really cool. And then they did announce that there is one monster, Angalax, which is going to be Kickstarter exclusive. So these are the two that you have to back at one of these like actual pledge levels to get. But everything else is going to go to retail. And so you could potentially wait. And if you just look at the number of unlocks, it's just insane. And it's just all such awesome stuff. These big ones are all additional monsters. And like in the hobby game, like one of these guys would cost like $25. And here, just out of unlocks alone, you're getting 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that's one, maybe 5, 6, 7. I don't even know, like 15. It's insane. We talked about the pledge levels. All the expansions are really cool because they don't add complexity, they just add depth. I really like this. I like games that mix it up too and that really like change up the game, but for the most part, these expansions are just adding more factions with new monsters, new buildings, new abilities and stuff. But they're not adding tokens. They're not adding sets of cards, decks of cards that you have to shuffle in and keep separated, or new ways of setting up a board or anything. For the most part, it's just more of the stuff, right? And it all just looks so incredible. I mean, if you look at these miniatures, the pterosaurs, you've got a giant pterodactyl and Terracon, whatever the hell he is, and their little helpers are a bunch of smaller dinosaurs. Why are they the good guys? Because they're protectors. The blue is the protectors. I don't know. They've been living apparently under the earth and were awakened by the invasion, something like that. Whatever, who cares? It's dinosaurs teaming up with Mecha. Like, how does it get any better than that? And then here you've got the Mecha Defender X and Nova ESA, and then they've got like your traditional like tanks and exo armors and stuff fighting with them. And then on the bad guy side, you've got the Lords of Cthulhu, so Ulgoth and Cthulhu Garage. So obviously Cthulhu inspired, and then here's their little minions. And then you've got the Planet Eaters, Gorgahadra, and Rogzor, and their units as well. And then it comes with all these buildings, 14 apartment buildings. These are, like solid plastic. 6 downtown high-rises, and then a bunch of specialty buildings that are, themed for the groups. So this is obviously the Mecha Defense Base. This is the Void Gate for the Cthulhu guys. This is the comet that the Planet Eaters fell in on, etc. Comes with a board. The original game, I think, played on paper mats, which looked really horrible and I would have hated. So love to see this board. They've redone all the art. Tons of dice. But if you look at this set of materials, it's very little and it's not finicky. There's not, there's all these little tokens. If you watch my videos, you know that I custom organize like all my games because they're so complicated. Midara has 60 different types of tokens probably, which is awesome. And that's why I like Midara. But it's also awesome to have something like this where I could conceivably actually use the box to store this because there's just not a whole lot, and there's not a whole lot to separate out. And then as you're going through the expansions, you're just getting more and more of that stuff. Here they show you the scale, so you can see these are the really big guys that come in the Battle Royale expansion, which is this one right here. So they're even bigger Apex monsters. Here's your standard 60 millimeter base Mecha monster. That's a huge base, so you can imagine how big these guys are. And then these are your 30 millimeter base standard units, which are probably comparable to like a Zombicide figure, this guy at least. So, these are giant. And then the add-ons, you have so many options to choose from. And they're all going to, for the most part, add more monsters and buildings and units. Ones that jump out at me as particularly interesting, Smashville looks pretty interesting because it actually changes up the way that the game plays. It does add like a campaign element where you are like protecting a city, and it's like a persistent thing that goes from game to game. So that sounds really cool. Despite what I was saying about how I like not adding complexity, this sounds light enough still that I would be very interested because you can see again, it's very light. There's no fiddliness here. Map packs I would definitely pick up. It just gives you more variety where you play. You've got Monster Mash, which adds another dino, and then a plant man, and then another Cthulhu, and this horrible Tyrannid looking thing, and then buildings and such. More map packs. Drake Uprising looks incredible. You have, I don't know if this is a dragon wearing armor or a robot dragon. Doesn't matter. Either way, it's awesome. And then you've got these subterranean goofballs coming up from the bottom, and buildings and such that are themed to those groups. Wreckburg is really interesting because it just adds a bunch more buildings, like building types. And this is a big part of the strategy of the game, where you're deciding, like a building will have like a special effect, like all units that are around this building spend 1 less die to do X. And so you're tactically like placing those so that you can maximize them. And so this just gives you more, and some iconic buildings like the Statue of Liberty and the Empire State Building, or whatever the hell Tokyo Triumph is. I was thinking the Eiffel Tower. And the rocket gantry, which looks amazing. So that's one that I would definitely be interested in. Mutant Menace looks incredible. Cassander, this giant mutant lion. And then Takahara, the giant rhino man. They've got their base. And then the Martian Menace, the Ares mothership. How can you not have that? I mean, that is so amazing. And then Tharbus 5 is some kind of weird robot. So incredibly cool. And then here's some of your unlocks. So you can see you get a tripod walker as an unlock for the bad guys there. This is probably my favorite of all these expansions, because it comes with more mecha, and I just really love mecha. But Frosttide comes with the Tritons, Krakenatus, a Kraken Kaiju holding a submarine, and Leviathan, which is a giant hammerhead shark. This stuff sells itself. I don't even need to sell this. This is such an incredible looking mecha miniature that I would have to buy this like just based off that. And then my children are going crazy out there. Hopefully they will settle down. So you've got the Frosttide, and you can see here one of the unlocks. They added another mecha, Concord 01, which is awesome. Rising Realities, this one looks really cool. This is the one that has like the giant ninja guys, and this guy in particular, the Magistrate from the Masters of the Eighth Dimension. He's got these giant gavel hands, hammer hands. Simian Corp, this is the other one that's like this. This is my absolute favorite because it comes with the apes and the mecha dinos. And then Battle Royale comes with the really big Apex monsters and a whole new set of dice and stuff and buildings so that you can play 4-player. Up to 4-player. And that's basically it. I don't want to belabor this too much. And again, to some extent, this stuff sells itself. Like, if you like Pacific Rim, if you like Gundam, or Godzilla, or what's that ape movie that came out? I can't remember the name of the King Kong movie that came out recently. King Kong, any of that stuff, this is a no-brainer. And again, the gameplay is just so simple. It really reminds me a lot of something like King of Tokyo, where all you're doing is setting up the map, moving your guys around, and then attacking. And then again, you have that element of moving the dice from monster to units so that you can activate them. And then you're like picking up a dude and slamming him through a building to do extra damage, or maybe your monster gets more powerful the more buildings are destroyed, you know. So you have some tactics that way. So light on rules, heavy on, strategy. So couldn't be cooler to me. I'm going to go ahead and call it there. Thank you guys for watching. Check it out if you want, and I will talk to you later.